across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. President Mahama releases another ministerial nominees. Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu will become Education Minister. Eric Opoku goes to Agric Ministry and governs Agboja for roads and highways. Details of these coming up shortly. Also this afternoon, crunch meeting underway at the Jubilee House between government and officials of Ghana Education Service over unresolved food crisis in public senior high schools. And much later on the program, over 300 individuals submit names for consideration as metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives across 43 assemblies in the Shanti region. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the breaking news coming in is that President John Mahama has made new appointment to 3 more regions and key ministries, including education, local government, and food and agriculture. Nominations have been made for Western, Central, and Western North region. So let me bring you the names that have come up officially as well. For the Western North region, the person who will be heading that place will be Wilbert Petty Brentum. For Western North, that person, Mr. Brentum, will also be the head of the Regional Security Council for Western North. For the Central region, Eduamwa Eko Penyin Otre, he will be the regional minister. For the Central region, Eduamwa Eko Penyin Otre. And for the Western region, Joseph Nelson. So these are the names or individuals going to these 3 regions. Let me repeat. Western North, Wilbert Petty Brentum. He is going to be the Western North Regional Minister. For the Central region, Ediamwa Eko Penyin Otre. And also for Western region, Joseph Nelson. In terms of ministers of state, we do have Ministry of Roads and Highways, Kwame governs Agboja, who is the Member of Parliament. And so he'll be going to the Roads and Highways Ministry. We also do have Ministry of Food and Agriculture. The person going there will be Eric Opoku. Also, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection will be Agnes Na Momo Late. She's also a Member of Parliament. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts will go to Abla Jifa Gomashi, who is also a Member of Parliament in the Volta region, one of the critical areas. Also, Ministry of Fisheries and Agriculture, Amelia Arthur. She's also a Member of Parliament. Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opareado. Ministry of Education, Haruna Idrisu, who is currently the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, as well as Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim. And then we do have Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry going to Elizabeth Ofosu Ajare. Let me take you through the names again in terms of the Ministers of State designate. We do have the Jifa Gomashi, Ahmed Ibrahim. If you're watching us on Facebook, we're showing you their images as well as the ministries they are going to. So Ahmed Ibrahim goes to the Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Ministry. Eric Opoku will be heading the Food and Agriculture Ministry. Fisheries and Aquaculture Ministry goes to Amelia Arthur. We also have Kwame Agboja governs, who is going to the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Haruna Idrisu, Ministry of Education. Agnes Na Momolate, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. So these are the names of the individuals as published by the presidency, and indeed this brings to 22 the number of ministerial nominees so far out of this 13 regional ministers. Let's speak to Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. He's a political analyst and also senior lecturer at UCC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Beatrice, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners.
When the first list of ministers designate came out and I asked you about your thoughts concerning those individuals and what you expected, there was a name you mentioned, Eric Opoku, and you said that you'd be surprised if he wasn't nominated for the Agric Ministry. I don't know whether the president heard you or indeed the analysis you made was exactly what it was. There was no other person to occupy the position. But aside from him, what do you make of the others who have been named now?
Well, in terms of Ministry of Roads and Highways, I know that Kwame Govins Agboja, that is his area of expertise, and that he's also been the, what we call it, shadow minister or ranking member in that particular area. Of course, when the former president said that they had constructed 12,000 kilometers of road, he had to come out with the actual fact of the roads that have been constructed in this country. And so if you send somebody like that to Roads and Highways, it is in order. Of course, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, even the opposition, the minority leader himself, said that when it comes to figures in that area, when Mr. Opoku speaks, you cannot challenge that. And so I wouldn't want to belabor the point on that. Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Now, one thing that is significant that I may have to mention before I continue is the fact that out of the 9 substantive ministers that the president came out with, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them being females. So we are talking about 4 and 5. And that for me is very significant. It appears that in actual fact, the president is living by his word. And of course, once you've been able to pick a woman as the vice president, then you are going to have female, representation and prevalence as far as ministerial positions are concerned. Other than that, it will just be a matter of lip service. And so he's living according to the kinds of things that he said. So that being said, tourism, culture and creative arts, we all know the long experience of, Madame Jifa Gomashi in that area. And so it's as if the president is looking at people's expertise and he's sending them there. I do not know much about Emily Arthur. Is it the one at Shama?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then that one too is in order. She has that long experience in that area. Youth development and empowerment. Well, if you look at the way and manner Mr. Pariado marshaled the youth, when he was, of course, the National Youth Organizer, having delivered that to the party, I think this is more rewarding. That being said, don't forget that he also has a professional competency in law, and in terms of organization, he's also demonstrated that. So for someone who the president believes will have to understand things youthful, I think that is also a good choice. Ministry of Education, that is where I have a little contention. But that is not to say that Haruna Idrisu that I know in time past, when he was even the Minister for Labor and Employment.
And Trade.
Labor Relations and Employment, yes. Whenever we went on strike and we met him, you could see the rapport, the friendly rapport that he had with the unions. And by the time that we will leave fulfilled, knowing very well that we are going to get, our request granted. I don't know the what's it called? The appointment or the nominations. No, the president has not exhausted the nominations.
Yes,
but
he hasn't.
I was thinking that somebody with such professional competency in that area, like Professor Odro, for example, who was among the bulwarks of the manifesto committee, and in terms of education and planning. And you remember the kinds of things that he revealed when it came to the free SHS implementation and the implementational challenges that the government was encountering. He was able to come up with alternatives, letting everybody understand and appreciate where he was coming from. So this is a ministerial position. I don't know where probably the president will want to place him, because if indeed you are talking about, and mind you, as I said, Mr. Aruna is someone who can easily adapt to any area. he's demonstrated his competency over the period. And I was thinking that with the current challenges in that area, the president could have looked at Professor Oduro in that manner. But if he's taking Haruna, why not? That is equally fair. That's why I said that I don't know. The president has not exhausted his nominations, so you can never tell. Now, Ahmed Ibrahim in that area, well, he's a grassroots person. I see him as a mashallah for that matter. And so I'm sure you'll be able to succeed in that area.
Indeed.
I don't know much about Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. You need someone who has the wherewithal in that area, because don't forget that they are going to liaise with the 24-hour economy, policy. So you need to have someone with that ability that will be able to understand, and be able to perceive the challenges and then find amicable solutions to all of that, because this is a flagship policy of the government, and for that matter, the president. And so I don't know much about her. So that is.
I know she played an important role as well in the first Mahama administration. But generally, people seem to be receptive as regards the kinds of individuals the president is electing. People think that he's electing based on competencies, and they seem excited about these individuals going to these places. How would you compare this with what the former President Kufuor did? Because he had some solid team as well in various departments and ministries, which is why people think that he was able to succeed that much.
Well, the difference would be the fact that some of these people have been in the fray in the past with Mr. Mahama. So they are coming in with that kind of experience that is both negative and positive. Negative in the sense that they lost the elections in 2016. Positive in the sense that the kind of opportunity Ghanaians have given the president. Therefore, you will have to have competent people who have the wherewithal to support that particular agenda. And I think that I hope it will not be like what we say in a local parlance that Asatapama will be free, in the sense that you seem to know all the challenges, you have been given the opportunity, and then you go slugging. That is something that Ghanaians will not forgive them on that particular list. And so, by and large, I think that the list, though not exhausted, is in order.
Is in order, you say. You were saying that you didn't know much about Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, and I was telling you that she played an important role in the first administration of John Mahama. She was actually the minister for the same place of tourism, culture, and creative arts, which is what has gone to Abla Gomashi right now. Again, at a point, she was also the board of TOR as well, and she's also a lawyer by profession.
Okay, that's interesting. Then she comes in with that competency. She comes in with that competency and some kind of experience. In all of this, you may have the competency on paper. What Ghanaians will be looking out for is a demonstration of this competency on the field and how it will affect their lives. Trade and industry, apart from having somebody of a legal background, I think you equally need someone of economic, someone of tax background, someone of business as well. With that particular, so maybe the president may want to choose somebody with that background as a deputy for that purpose, so that they will complement each other.
Let me briefly find out from you, Ahmed Ibrahim, who is going to the local government area. I'm just wondering whether you know anything about him, and really, I mean, that's also another interesting place for appointments like that.
As for him, I said that he's a grassroots person. He's a mashallah, and that area he's going to chieftaincy, to be precise, is an area of enormous conflict. And so if you have someone who is a grassroots person who understands the dynamics, in this area, I think that is good. And Ahmed, if you know the role he played, for example, in Mr. Shedin Katier's campaign. He's a very forceful person. He's very upright. He sticks to things that he feels are right. And when it happens like that, he doesn't really bother how you feel, because he will want the right thing to be done. And so I see him as someone who will be able to deal with the issues over there, because local government, you need someone who is a grassroots person, because people will be coming to you.
Indeed.
So if you are not responsive to their plight, obviously your post-stream will create a problem for the image of the party.
And before you go, Doc, we are also learning that Mahama Ayariga has been tipped to be the next minority leader. Your initial thought?
Well, I had three names that that were flighted: Mahama Ayariga, Kwekuru Kitihagan, and then a third person. The name has just escaped me. I was thinking that, he has a legal background. He's a constitutional expert, former education minister. I mean, he knows his law. I mean, well trained. I was thinking maybe they could have promoted Mr. Ama Kofi-Buah to the position of a majority leader, having used Dr. Ato Forson in that particular area. But that being said, it's a teamwork, and I don't know where they want to, whether they are maintaining Mr. Ama Kofi-Buah there, or there's also going to, because he's been an energy minister before in the past. And so, with this, if you are giving ministerial positions and you are sending Mahama Ayariga to be the majority leader, then certainly, when it comes to the Western region, I don't think we've seen any much representation so far. Maybe you can talk of Emiliata. So if you did not make him a majority leader, the caucus did not make him a majority leader, giving Mr. Mahama Ayariga, somebody that I highly respect and like a lot. So if that is the case, then I don't know, maybe they want to consider Mr. Kofi-Buah for a particular ministerial portfolio. That would be fair.
Indeed, we'll end it here. Thank you very much. And that was Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere giving his last thoughts there on the information we're getting that Mahama Ayariga has been tipped to be the next majority leader of the 9th Parliament. And we stay with the government because the announcement of James Gunu as the Volta Regional Minister designate by President Mahama has been greeted with excitement among party members in the region who describe him as a perfect fit for the position. Mr. Gunu, who has been serving as the NDC's regional secretary before his nomination, is believed to have the capabilities to lead the development agenda of the Volta region. Correspondent Faisal Abdul Idris joins us live from the region with some updates. Faisal, before we delve into how the news of the nominee, as it were, is being received by party members in the region, can you tell us more about James Gunu?
Yes, so James Gunu, before his appointment, nomination actually, was serving as the Volta Regional Secretary of the NDC. Before then, he was the Kachinov District Chief Executive between 2013 to 2017 until the NDC lost the election in 2016. And so he moved on to serve at the regional level as the party's administrator at the regional level. James Gunu was a practicing journalist, so he's well known within the media fraternity, within DGA members here in the region. Politically, he's considered as somebody who is well connected to the grassroots, selfless, very dedicated to the ideals of the party, the NDC. And so for his nomination, people think he's the best fit, particularly at a time that there seems to be a disconnect between the VRCC led by Dr. Archibald Yao-Lecha under the previous regime and the NPP party at the time, and also that kind of disconnect between the VRCC and the chiefs in the region. People think that Gunu now coming in would be a perfect replacement for Dr. Lecha and a perfect fit that will lead the agenda as far as the development of the region is concerned.
Can you briefly tell us the reaction from there before we hear from them?
Yes, just as I've mentioned about his personality, the party folks yesterday were at the party office just to jubilate over the announcement And for them, they believe that James Gunu is the man they have expected from day one to be nominated as.
Made the party more vibrant in the region, and also we hope that also promote further development that we are expecting.
We have no doubt that he would enroll in this new phase and then make positive impact in the people's life. We trust he can do the work, and so all we want to say is congratulations to him.
The grassroots are so happy. Everybody is happy. I can be bold and tell you that Gonu relationship with the grassroots, we are going to take power another 4 years and continue another 4 years and continue another 4 years.
And you heard some reactions from the Volta region following the announcement of James Gunu as the regional minister for the area. In the eastern region, residents at the place believe that the new regional minister designate's background in local governance will equip her with the necessary knowledge and experience to foster further development in the area. Several residents who spoke to our correspondent shared their thoughts on the appointment of Rita Akosua-Awotey as Eastern Regional Minister Designate, and we'll bring you that later, some 22 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you some more regarding those who are submitting their names for MMDCE positions in the Ashanti region.
Sometimes you believe you're carrying just enough cash to see your doctor until it's time to pay the bill. You find out to your embarrassment that carrying just enough isn't quite enough. Carry a Nationwide medical insurance card. Now that's quite enough.
Your health is worth protecting.
Call us on 0800 22 2222 or visit www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
You're still here on the Midday News on Shri FM 92.7. Now, over 300 individuals have submitted their names for consideration as Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives across the 43 assemblies of the Ashanti region. The regional office of the governing National Democratic Congress has set aside 3 days for the vetting of these aspirants. Ibrahim Abubakar is our man following this. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, just tell us more about this exercise.
As we speak, 2 of the assemblies have so far been attended to, and Bosumefo and Joabin. Bosumefo, they had 7 aspirants, then Joabin, they have 4 aspirants. But today, the region will be attending to at least 10 assemblies so that they do another 10 tomorrow and they wrap up the following day. A number of them are here. In fact, when you speak to some of the aspirants, you realize that they are excited with the new process of allowing people to submit or file their nomination. Then they come for voting because subsequently one of them will be nominated for the position. They said these new structures it will ensure that people who are indeed indigenous and know the problems of the communities will be the ones to contest and eventually nominated to steer the affairs of the various municipal, metropolitan, and district assembly, and it will rather bring development in those areas. Earlier, I spoke to some of the aspirants, and let's listen to what they have been telling me.
I'm sorry, Ibrahim, we don't have that, but what more can you tell us as regards how it's going so far?
Well, so far, so good. It's been peaceful here, but a number of them are here. Like I said today, they are looking at attending to 10 assemblies, in total 88 persons. So far, they've been able to do only 2. So the numbers here are huge, but you realize that they are patient. Everybody is patient, waiting for it or her turn to attend to the voting committee.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's a man in the Ashanti region. Now, before we go, food supply in public senior high schools is yet to see any improvement, despite a directive to take food from the warehouse at Tema to all senior high schools to help with the feeding of students. Now, feeding for some time now has been a major challenge for authorities, prompting the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools to issue an advice to parents to let their children come to school with food such as gari, shito, and sugar to supplement daily rations by the school. Now, faced with the gravity of the situation, President Mahama directed that food stock in warehouse at Tema be immediately sent as a temporary measure while government finds a lasting solution.
As we speak, we have a challenge currently with feeding students in secondary schools, as the Ghana Education Service insisted that schools must reopen on the 3rd of January, contrary to the advice of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools. As a stopgap measure, I've asked the Chief of Staff to work with the Ghana Education Service to allocate and evacuate food that is currently held in warehouses in Tema. This food was imported by the outgoing government in response to the drought that occurred last year. But in this emergency, we need to use some of that food to feed our students so that education can continue.
And you have the President John Mahama. Now, it is emerging that the administration's insistence on cancelling the gold for oil policy occasioned the fuel shortages which nearly returned the country to load shedding upon the assumption of office. That is the allegation from a former majority leader and member of the MPP transition team, Oseche Mensah Bonsu. Chief of Staff Julius Debra held crunch meetings on the first day in office, following revelations of a lack of fuel to power thermal plant to support the national grid. Energy Minister designate had raised the concern, accusing the erstwhile Akufo-Addo administration of bad faith. That allegation, however, is being fiercely resisted by members of the Akufo-Addo transition team. Now, member of the transition team, Oseche Mensah Bonsu, insists no bad faith was exhibited.
But with respect to the procurement of fuel, I recollect he and I had some discussions, in particular relating to the procurement of oil. You know, they had indicated that they were going to cancel this G4O,
Gold for oil.
The gold for oil arrangements. And the transition meetings, I had very serious discussions with him that it would be a tragedy if they did that. Because I'm sure they hadn't really applied themselves critically to the positives from that. If maybe people suspect that there are some irregularities in the procurement or the contract arrangements, nothing stops them from maybe reviewing it.
And you had right there former majority leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu, who is also a member of the MPP's transition team. We'll bring you more of that interview in our subsequent bulletins. And that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you so much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
3FM. I wake up early every weekday because of you to keep you on top of your game. Yeah.
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiampofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Minu Afol. Coming up, Chamber of Agribusiness welcomes newly appointed Sector Minister Eric Opoku as it urges more stakeholder engagements.
He has been an industry player, especially in the cocoa sector. We hope that he will bring his immense expertise into the sector.
Also, Ghana Statistical Service cites cost of transporting foodstuff as major contributor to high inflation.
What are we doing as a country to address these seasonal issues and say that maybe in areas where we have bumper harvest, we are able to have buffer stocks where we can keep some of these seasonal foods?
My name is Minu Afol. We have details of these stories and more lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks so much for your time. In our first story, the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana has welcomed newly appointed Sector Minister Eric Opoku by President John Dramani Mahama. Fresh ministerial appointments from the Office of the President has revealed that Eric Opoku has been nominated as Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. But speaking to 3 Business, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison, urged more stakeholder collaborations by the nominee to ensure the agricultural sector thrives.
We welcome his nomination. Honorable Eric Opoku, I believe, being the minority ranking member on the Agriculture, Food and Cocoa Affairs for 8 years in Parliament, and as somebody who has been an industry player, especially in the cocoa sector, we hope that he will bring his immense expertise into the sector. We also pray that he will be an industry player, ready to engage and listen to the industry, most importantly. We welcome his nomination once again, hoping that his engagement with development partners and judgment to be based on technical and sound judgment, so that we can collectively develop this country and the agriculture sector.
That was Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison there. Now, cost of transportation dominated the factors that pushed inflation above 20% in 2024. This, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, contributed to food inflation going up due to the high cost of transporting foodstuffs from the farm gate to consumers. Speaking to journalists at a workshop to review the consumer price index variables, data scientist at the Ghana Statistical Service, Simon, called for a multi-stakeholder approach to address the high cost of transporting foodstuff to the markets.
over the period, yam is actually driving inflation in the food category. And if you look at it, it is playing a role. Yam, for example, is a seasonal item. Fresh tomatoes is a seasonal item. And we realize that periods where we observe significant drop in inflation for yam, it affects the division's inflation. So it means that in the basket of the division where yam belongs, it is really contributing significantly to the price changes we are seeing in that particular subgroup. And it tells us that seasons actually play a role. And realize that for yam, for instance, over the period between August and September, for all the period, there is a marginal drop in the price of yam per kilogram. So what are we doing as a country? And this is a question I pose to all of us, to address these seasonal issues and say that maybe in areas where we have bumper harvest, we are able to have buffer stocks where we can keep some of these seasonal foods, so that areas where, periods where we don't have higher harvest, we are able to release these foods to ease the pressures on price of some of these food items.
Well, that was Simon Onilimo, a data scientist at Ghana Statistical Service. Also, Ghana dropped 3 places to the 13th position in Africa with the lowest fuel price, according to globalpetrolprices.com. Ghana's average petrol price of $1 per litre, about $1 per litre in January 2025, compared to about 98 cents per litre in December 2024, ranks as 53rd globally from the previous 43rd. Libya retained the number 1 position in Africa with the lowest fuel price of 3 cents per litre on the African continent, but second globally. Angola and Egypt came second and third respectively, with fuel prices of 32 cents and 33 cents per litre respectively. From 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th were Algeria with 33 cents, Sudan with about 70 cents, Nigeria with about 76 cents, Tunisia with about 78 cents, Ethiopia with about 80 cents, and Liberia about 84 cents respectively. Meanwhile, prices of petroleum products are expected to go up marginally at the pumps from Friday, January 17, 2025 here in Ghana. Away from that, in a bid to foster development and create the world's largest single market with 1.4 billion consumers, the Africa Prosperity Network, in collaboration with the Africa Continental Free Trade Secretariat of the Office of the President of Ghana, is set to organize the 2025 edition of the Africa Prosperity Dialogues. This annual event brings together Africa's most influential leaders to drive the agenda of development through trade facilitations and free movements, scheduled to take place from January 30 to February 1 at the Accra International Conference Center. The following 3 Business News Desk reports has more.
This year's dialogues will host nearly 3,000 participants, including heads of state, industry giant, CEOs, ministers, policymakers, and thought leaders. The dialogues kick off with the opening of the Project Afrique exhibition, featuring international dignitaries and experts who will lead discussions on various topics for seamless movement across Africa. An open forum will allow all participants to contribute to the theme, shaping the summit's outcome document with recommendations. The final day features the high-level heads of state and business leaders dialogue, culminating in a presidential roundtable discussion on policy frameworks for private sector participation in building Africa's single market. 2 significant fireside conversations will take place, focusing on Badia's $50 billion investment fund and a discussion with one of Africa's most celebrated industrialists. The summit concludes with the prestigious Africa Prosperity Champions Awards and presidential gala dinner, honoring individuals and organizations for their contributions to Africa's prosperity and integration.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report, ending Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, kindly log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Minu Afo. Please stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.